Hello everyone, my name is Miss Ashley from Febo Kids Art Academy and welcome to another amazing art class. Today we are going to be learning about the famous post-impressionist artist Vincent van Gogh. We're also going to be learning about turbulent theory and incorporating that into our Van Gogh inspired picture. For a list of supplies, be sure to check the description of this video. Let's go ahead and get started with learning a little bit more about Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh was a famous post-impressionist artist. Van Gogh's creations during his most turbulent period, while he stayed at a mental institution, mirrored nature's turbulent flows down to mathematical precision, as if his mind delved into a skill where the painter's brush and nature's brush became one and the same. Researchers analyzing Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night show that its swirling structures have turbulent properties matching those observed in the molecular clouds that give birth to stars. Examples of turbulence flow can be seen not only in stars, but also on Jupiter, smoke, and water. Today we will be creating a piece inspired by Van Gogh and adding turbulence to our picture. All right, so here is our picture that we're going to be drawing today. As I stated earlier, not only do we see turbulence in stars, but we see it on Jupiter, as well as smoke and water. We're just going to go right into our final draw today. It's a very simple, easy drawing, just to give us a little bit more time for coloring. Do make sure you grab that nice piece of paper. This is one that you're going to be using watercolors on, an oil pastel as well. I do want you to use that pencil, but I'll be using a Sharpie so you can see my lines. And again, make sure that your paper is horizontal, not vertical, horizontal. The first thing we need to do is we're actually going to be drawing what should be a moon, but it's actually going to be Jupiter. And how we're going to do that is we're going to be going to the top right corner of our paper with our pencil, and you're going to be drawing a circle. All right, so that is going to be Jupiter in the sky. Next, we're going to be drawing a wave. We're going to curve up and down. And then we're going to curve up, down. So that's going to be our big wave that's creating turbulence. Then we're going to curve down. And then we're curving up and over. All right, we're going to add a boat right here next. So for our boat, we're going to draw a curve on the left and a curve on the right. All right, once you're done with that, we're going to be drawing a slanted line to connect our boat. Now you could leave your boat like this if you really wanted to. However, I'm just going to put a little bit more design to my boat by drawing a straight line going up and over, slightly down, slanted line, and then down. I do want to add just a tiny little roof on the top there, so I'm going to draw a straight line there. And I'll add 2 windows by drawing 2 rectangles. Awesome. Once you're done with that, we're going to add a nice little chimney right here by drawing a rectangle next to our structure right here. And I'm going to draw a nice wavy line for the smoke. Remember, we see turbulence in smoke. I'm going to add a flagpole to the back of my boat by drawing 2 straight lines and a circle and a wavy line on the top and the bottom. And then we'll connect that with a slanted line. Now I do want to add some wavy lines here. Again, there's turbulence in water, so I want to add that there. And it would not be a Van Gogh inspired picture if we didn't have those stars. So we're just going to draw some circles in our picture. They can be small, they can be large, that is up to you. But I'm just going to go ahead and draw those circles. So when you are done with your picture, it should look something like this. Again, it was a very easy drawing that we all drew together, not too complicated. Awesome, so when you are done drawing your picture, you are going to outline everything in pencil. So now we're almost to our coloring step. We just need to take that Sharpie and we're going to outline all of our pencil lines. So make sure that your cap is on the back. You're holding low and going slow. You can add as many stars as you would like. Just make sure you do have Jupiter, a water wave, and a boat. And also make sure that there's smoke coming out of that boat right there. All right, so there's Jupiter. I'm gonna get my wave now. Up. And I'm just following that line as closely as I can. And take your time with this step. If you are not finished by the time that I finish, no worries, you can always press pause on the video. I like to add that little line right there for the top of my boat. Down and down right there. And don't forget your windows and your flag. Straight line here and straight line there. And then don't forget your wavy lines on the back right here. When you are done outlining your picture, you can go ahead, put that Sharpie away, and you can erase all of those pencil lines. All right, now let's talk about Van Gogh's picture. Now in his picture Starry Night, you can definitely see those turbulence going around the stars, also in the sky. So what we're going to do is we're going to mimic that style in our picture by taking out our oil pastels. Our oil pastels are very similar to crayons. They're also water resistant. We will be using watercolor on our picture. Let's go ahead, let's pick a color for our stars. I'm going to be going for this nice kind of a yellow-orange color. And I'm going to fill in my stars. So that way I can see them. All right, now this next step might be kind of a little tedious and a little bit confusing, but no worries, it's actually quite easy because all we're going to do is we're just going to be adding some lines around our stars. So I'm going to now be taking my chrome yellow and I'm just going to go around and add lines, going in a nice swirl. I'm going to do that around about 3 times. Now I'm going to do this to each of those stars. So I'm taking the same color, I'm going around and around. Now it doesn't matter if it's not a lot or a whole lot. Some of your lines might be bigger and smaller, and that's okay, just as long as it's showing that turbulence. I'm going to do that to all of those stars. All right, so almost done with all of my stars. Again, I'm just going around each and every one of them to make sure that I've got that turbulence. All right, once we have that, we're actually going to grab a lighter yellow and do that same thing. Now it's okay to go over some of those lines actually. In fact, I encourage you to do so, just so we have a little bit more variety in those lines. Now it might be a little tricky to see my yellow on my paper, but I am adding that lighter yellow to my picture. I'm just going to go around and around. You can go over some of those areas as well. I'm just going to keep adding it. All right, there's that. Don't forget all your other stars. We're going to be doing this method throughout our entire picture. The goal is to have it filled up with all sorts of turbulence lines, but we still want to see some paper from our background. All right. There are my stars. All right, we're actually now going to be switching to our blues next. So I recommend you're going to grab your light blue and we're going to do that same thing. It's okay to overlap some of that yellow as well to create a green color. There's no right or wrong to how you add those lines. Just make sure you are going around your stars. Here and here and right here. And we're going to spend a lot more time coloring than drawing our picture. Lots of lines that we need to draw. But it's okay. In the end, our pictures will look amazing. And again, it's okay to go over some of your yellow. Because we're creating that turbulence. All right, if you're still trying to figure out what colors you're using, or maybe you are still working on your yellow part of your picture, no worries, you can always press pause on this video. All right, there's more of that. And around our stars here. And right there. Awesome, and we'll go ahead and get our medium blue, called cobalt blue in my box. And we'll do that same thing around and around our stars. And it's okay to go over some of that light blue as well. Now, if you find that maybe you need to go back and maybe add some more of those lines, that's okay too. Because maybe some of your lines are a little bit, they've got gaps in between it. You can always go back and add a few more lines. Better to add too many than not enough, in my opinion. We're just adding some more of those lines, creating that turbulence. All right, so there's those. And I'll add it here. You can make some of them a little bit longer if you'd like to. There's nothing wrong with that. And right there. We'll come back to the rest in just a bit. These are just the main focus of our picture for right now. Again, we'll go in and fill that background in later. Now remember, Jupiter also has some turbulence on the planet. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our light brown. So this one's ochre. And I want to draw some swirling motions in my planet. Some of those can go around here and right here to create that turbulence. And once you're done with that, you can then grab all sorts of different shades of tan and brown and just define that turbulence a little bit more in your picture. So there's that. I can go in and grab a darker brown and add just a little bit more in some of those areas. Get even more swirled. And then when you're done with that, we'll just go back with some of our tan, ochre, and just add some nice wavy lines to our picture. Or excuse me, just to Jupiter. We'll also go in and add a little bit of yellow and light blue. Just to give it those nice wavy lines. The main focus is our turbulence right here though. We do need to see that. But I'm just adding some wavy lines just to show that there is a planet right there above our boat. And also grab some light blue too. I think the light blue really helps to make that color pop just a little bit. So now you should have your stars and planet Jupiter colored in. Now going back to our planet, we do need to go back to our yellows like we did with our stars. So I'm going to be taking my chrome yellow and I'm just going to go around and add those lines around my planet. Now it's okay if you do go over your stars a little bit because it's fine that green, or excuse me, your blue meshes with your yellow to create some of that green. And you can go in and add even more lines if you want to. Again, it's okay to see your paper in the background. We are going to be using watercolor to cover everything. And then you can go ahead and get your lighter yellow as well. Add some lines right there. All right, so there's that. And then we'll go back to adding a little bit of light blue as well. Again, it's okay to go over some of your stars. Just try your best to maybe hop over some of those areas like so. But you can go over some of those yellow areas as well. That's okay. All right, we are going to be creating some turbulence next into our water. Let's focus on the waves here and right here. I want you to grab your cobalt blue, and we're going to add a swirl here and a swirl there and right here. And after that, we're just going to add some lines going around here. This is our turbulence right on our water. Then you'll go in. I would grab a darker blue. So I have right here my ultramarine light, and I can add some of those lines as well. You can even bring them into some of those swirls, like so. Right here, and right there. All right. For this part, we are just going to add some nice wavy lines. Let's go back to using our cobalt blue, and we're just going to add some lines going like so. So these are part of our wavy lines. that haven't quite reached turbulence yet. Just gonna go up like here. And again, I'm not drawing long wavy lines. I'm separating those lines to make them far apart. Or they do come a little bit closer to each other. But again, no long wavy lines. Make sure that they are separated. And then we'll add just a little bit more. You can even add some type of a little bit longer wavy lines. Maybe there's a little bit more of a wave, like so. We'll just add a whole bunch of these. I find it's best to add a little bit more to the bottom though for a shading effect. So we can just go back and add some of those lines, maybe especially right here too, where this wave separates from the turbulence behind it, just to show that nice separation. All right, and then we're gonna grab that next color, which was the ultramarine blue, and we're gonna add some more of those lines. Again, you want to get kind of heavy on the lines closer to the bottom of our paper because this is our light source up here. So things that are closer to our light source are lighter, farther away they're a bit darker. So we do still want to take that into consideration for our picture. But I'm just going to go ahead and add those lines. And get as close as I can to those corners. And just keep going. And don't forget some of the waves up here. You can also, if you would like to, get your, what is it called? It is called ultramarine, and get it a little bit darker down here as well. So now our picture is really starting to come to life once we added that water, but we still need to color our boat and our sky still. But we do want to make sure we have all those lines in our picture. So it's better to have too many lines and not enough lines at all. I'm just going through, adding more and more. Make sure too you do add a little bit more dark blue underneath there because this part is blocked by our main source of light right there. Then you can fill in some of those areas. Very nice. You can even make some of them a little bit thicker and darker, like so. All right, your boat can actually be any color that you would like, but before we do start on the boat, let's talk about our smoke right here. So our smoke has turbulence, so I'm just gonna go through and draw in that smoke and add some of those lines. And you can also switch between different shades of gray. So this one is going to be yellow gray, just to add that nice variety of color. All right, and then for your boat, you are going to be using whatever colors you want. However, you still need to use that line technique that we're doing because we're still trying to mimic Van Gogh's style. So for example, I can add some lines to that window here and here. And go back with a different shade of color and add those lines as well. And add even more lines. I can even choose a different shade of blue too for that. Because maybe they'd look a little bit too light. So I want it to be just a tad bit darker. There we go. And then I can now choose a color that I want for my boat. I think I'm going to go for red today. So I can fill in this top part, but make sure you are using those lines in your boat. We're still wanting to show that texture and movement. All right, and I have all sorts of different shades of red, so I can take that. And again, it is okay to see some of your white from your paper. And then I think I'm going to grab this darker red right here, just to add a little bit more. All right, I am going to be coloring my chimney part right here. And I'm still using those lines and just using nice up and down lines to create that variety. And then I can fill this one in actually, but for my flag, I still want to use that movement right along the flag. I'm going to do a yellow flag today. So I'm going to just add those yellow lines for that movement. But make sure you are choosing different shades of yellow. Don't just stick to one. It helps make it look a little bit more creative. All right, take a close look at your sky. If you feel like there's anything else that you need to add to those stars, we are going to be adding more to our sky actually, because remember, yellow and blue create the color green. So we do want to add just a tiny bit of green to our sky, but for our green, we are going to be using some blue-green, and I'm just going to be adding some lines around here. I'm just going to go around my stars like so. I'm just going to keep adding those lines. And more and more. Make sure you keep going around and around all of your stars. Again, so with our flag, we wouldn't follow the movement of the flag. We're just going to keep adding lines as if there's a circle going around our flag right there. Same with Jupiter right here. And now is a good time to check to see if we've gotten as close as you can to your lines as possible. So you can also add some flow to your picture with that green, or blue-green I should say. And then you can also go back in with different shades of blue and add that as well. So I've got this nice dark blue right here, this Prussian blue, hopefully I'm saying that right. And you can add even darker blue to the bottom right here. So this is a good opportunity to take that moment to make sure you have added all the appropriate colors that you needed. If you think that maybe you need some more oranges or yellows in any of those areas, do add them because this is your picture. I could even go back and add a little bit of orange to Jupiter right here if I'd like to, just to create some more of that turbulence. Just again, make sure you don't leave any part of your picture unattended to. All right. Now, while this blue-green right here does look great, I do want to add just a little bit more of some blue as well. So I can go in and follow those lines and add some more. Just make sure you have a little bit more green for the sky than you do the water, because if you add too much blue to that sky, it's going to be hard to tell the difference between what is sky and what is water. So do take that into consideration as you add your lines. All right, and so here is our picture. It looks really great. We could probably add a few more lines here and there though. It's your call though. I think I do want a little bit more light blue, especially around Jupiter right here. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more, and it's okay to go over some of that oil pastel and add those lines. Awesome, that looks really great. You guys did a great job with that. All right, when you feel that you are absolutely done with your entire picture, adding all those lines, we're gonna go ahead and move on to watercolors next. So make sure to put your oil pastels away. Make sure to put that lid back on. And we're gonna go ahead and move on to watercolors next. Now, whatever area is painted, or excuse me, added with that color of oil pastel, you're gonna use that same color with water, or same color with watercolor. So for example, for Jupiter right here, I'm probably going to use a variety of yellow, orange, and browns and yellows. So for example, I'm going to take my yellow here, and I'm just going to paint the middle of Jupiter like so, with just my yellow. Then I can take my yellow orange and paint around it. And it's okay to go right over your oil pastel. Remember, oil pastels and watercolors do not mix. So I used my yellow orange. I can get a little tiny bit of brown as well. Ooh, and spread that brown because we don't want too much of it to paint Jupiter. So again, for the middle of Jupiter, I added yellow. Around the yellow, I used yellow orange. And for the outside, around here, I used brown. All right, we are going to be using some yellow to create that glow around our planet. So I'm going to take my yellow and paint along here. The goal is to not see any white from our paper unless you want this part left white, which I'm going to do for my picture. All right, I do need to go over and paint those stars yellow. So I'm going to take this and go around with my yellow. And if you do have some of those, what I call oil pastel crumbs, you can pick them up with your watercolor, but if you haven't painted yet, you can always pick up your picture and tap the oil pastel bits onto your table. Excuse me. I'm also going to paint my flag because it's yellow. All right. Great job on coloring all of those stars. The next color I am going to be using is I'm going to be using turquoise. Now this is where my palette is going to be coming in really handy because I don't want my entire picture to be turquoise. I want it to switch from turquoise to blue-green. So here is my turquoise right here. I'm going to go around my star area. It's okay if some of that does get onto your yellow, but I'm just going around and adding that turquoise. And getting as close as I can to that yellow. Again, I don't want to see any white from my paper. And that's perfectly okay if that turquoise does mesh with the yellow to create that nice little green effect right there. All right, so again, I'm just going around close as I can. If you need to go back and add some extra yellow, you can do that as well. Let me just get a little bit more turquoise. And if you want those colors to be lighter, you use more water. If you don't want it to be too light, you use less water, more paint. So I can go here and blend that a little bit to have a nice little green separation. So again, you're going to do this to all of your stars. But since your Jupiter is pretty big right there, I probably wouldn't take too much of that turquoise into my star right there. As close as you can. When you are done adding that turquoise around your stars, you're going to take both a mixture of turquoise and blue-green. Now we don't want too much blue-green because we don't want to make our sky look like it's in a stormy night. But you're going to just fill up the rest of those areas with your mixture of blue-green and turquoise. It's a nice little subtle change. If you feel like you don't have enough turquoise though, you can always go back in and add just a little bit extra. And if you do get some on your wave like I did, that's okay. Just make sure you are getting as close as you can to all of your lines and your colors. Like so. Right here. A nice sky we've created. Looks excellent. All right. And there we go, right about down here. And check your white spots. Make sure you don't have any white spots showing in your sky. I'm just going as close as I can to the top of my water. Very nice. Good job. All right, we're going to be taking our regular blue. And I find sometimes that blue is just a little bit too transparent for my liking. So sometimes I like to add maybe like turquoise to it or some blue green, just to make that blue a little bit more vibrant. I'm going to add some extra blue right in that mixture. And I am going to paint my water blue. So again, to get this mixture that I created, I mixed blue-green, turquoise, and regular blue. But if your regular blue works just as well, go for it then. Just again, sometimes our watercolors here, the blue just doesn't want to be opaque enough. But again, if you need more water in your mixture or less water, you add that to your palette. So I'm going to get some more blue and turquoise and blue-green and some more blue. And just get as close as I can to those lines. Just make sure you have enough water in your brush to spread that paint around. Now, while you can be done with your picture, we are going to be adding one last thing to our picture, just to make it look a little bit more lively, like we see that turbulence in real life. But do make sure that everything is painted. There are no white spots whatsoever. There is our picture. We do have a little bit more to add to our picture, but now is a good time just to check and make sure that there's nothing missing in our picture. Maybe there's some areas you need to go back and touch up on. Maybe you've got a few white spots here and there. Do take care of it though. All right, so I'm just touching up on some of those areas. Very nice job, you guys, on your pictures. I'm just going to go ahead and put my watercolors away because the last thing that we are going to be doing is you will need a paintbrush, and you can use any size for this. So I'm going to make sure that all my paintbrushes I used are clean for our next step. You can also use a popsicle stick with this instead. I like the brush though just to get that nice different size. I'm going to clean my brushes first, making sure that they're ready for our next step. Because we're actually using a weird combination, and we're actually using something that normally people wouldn't really use in art, but it actually works very well for our project. I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off my area right here first. Because what we're going to do is you're going to get a paper plate, and you're going to get glue. Now we're not gluing anything onto our paper. We're actually using this to mix with something else. So go ahead and open your glue, and you're going to get some glue onto a plate. You can also do this in a plastic or paper cup, but I've got paper plates right here. And then once you have enough glue, you're also going to take some shaving cream. I know it seems a little bit silly to use shaving cream, But we are actually taking the shaving cream and squirting it or spraying it right on our glue. All right, so I got shaving cream and glue. That looks super silly. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna mix with a brush your glue and shaving cream together. So I've got my glue and shaving cream right here. I'm just mixing that as best as I can. I probably got a little bit too much shaving cream, so I probably need some extra glue with that. So let me just get some glue real quickly. So I think it's a little bit easier to do this with in a paper cup or a plastic cup. I got some glue and I'm going to mix. So now this glue should help your shaving cream not deflate too much and turn invisible. So if it's to a point that it's a little bit hard to mix, that means your mixture is ready and good to go. Oh, I think I made a little bit too much, but that's okay. Because you're gonna take your shaving cream mixture and you're gonna add some waves and turbulence to your picture. So for example, you can add it right here. Now, if it's a little bit hard to see, you probably need just a little bit more on your brush. You're gonna go up here, up right along here. Right along there. If you want a little bit more to puff out a little bit, you can always take your brush and just tap it on the top. You can also add some fun little droplets of water falling down from your water, that big wave. Also take your small brush and add those lines to your turbulence and add those lines wherever you would see turbulence, which is on water, smoke, Jupiter, and those stars. So I'm just going to get my small brush and just add those lines right there. Also add it to the top here, top of your water right here, just for that extra added detail. And sometimes if it's a little bit hard to brush on, you can get your paintbrush and just tap it on. Get that to right there. And we're just going to add that like so. You can add that turbulence as well to our stars. Oops, I think my shading cream is trying to deflate a little bit. I can add that to my stars and those nice swirls. Alrighty, so there's some up here. Move that around. It's kind of messy, but it works really, really well to show that turbulence. And you can just dab it on. And don't forget your water wave down here. And don't forget also Jupiter's clouds on there. Like so. Again, just tapping it. I find that tapping is just a little bit easier than trying to spread it on. If you got those big waves right here, you can also do that. Don't touch your picture though. I know it's a little bit tempting because the shaving cream is just so much fun to play with. But give your picture enough time for it to dry so that way it doesn't deflate too much once it does dry. I'm just going to add a little bit here. here, right up here. And don't forget any of those stars as well. If the paintbrush is a little bit too hard to use, you can easily get a, oh my gosh, a popsicle stick. That's the word I was looking for. Alrighty, so there are some of my turbulence in my sky. Let me get it on the water as well. Sometimes it's just easier to have globs of the shaving cream on your brush and apply it on there. So do some little drops right there too. But how neat does that look, you guys? You did a great job on your pictures. If you're still working on your turbulence, keep going with that shaving cream and glue mixture. If you're done, put it in a place for it to dry. Shouldn't take too long for your entire picture to dry. But that is everything that we need to do for our picture. So definitely make sure you clean up that area. If you do want to add more turbulence to your picture, you may go ahead and do so. But that is everything that we need to do for our picture. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a lot of fun learning about Vincent van Gogh and the turbulence theory. Here is our picture. And again, make sure to let it have some time to dry. Please post your pictures online at our Febo Village page on Facebook. We would love to see them. And we will see you next time at Febo Kids Art Academy. Bye!